Hey everyone, it's Adam here. This is one of those videos where you're going to say, Adam, I think we need an intervention. Why are there 8 boots in front of us? Well, I'm a weirdo, as you guys all know, and so when Forma Boots announced their new adventure, I felt compelled to order it the moment I saw the release, and it's taken about 5 business days to get the boot to me from their USA distributor in Las Vegas. By the way, I think it's like a one-man show over there, and their support has been phenomenal. I've had a lot of issues over the years, nothing unreasonable considering how I use my equipment, and that guy has just been like really on the ball about fitment exchanges, warranty fixes, getting me spare parts when things break. So it's caused me to sort of continue ordering from them, even though CD and a couple other brands may have better products. The Forma stuff continues to really kind of exceed my expectations, both in comfort and safety. Now, I think one thing that's really important to mention is that in lifetime of these boots, I'm not as happy. They don't seem to last more than about 2 to 3 years a pair based on how I use them. And I'm talking about hard off-road, mud, dirt, sand, dropping the bike, a lot of chances for the boot to deform, and of course a lot of miles. So just thought I would throw it out there, but it could be just my use case, to be honest. All right, so let's first start with the new model. So this is the new Adventure boot right here. And so what's different about it? Well, really nothing. If you were to, where do you scrap this up right there? Supposedly nothing, except for the waterproofing has been redesigned. So what I understand about this model and how I hope it compares to the previous model is that this model, that's closed up, has a kind of waterproofing that's laminated to the inner material. So instead of it being just a waterproof layer, it's instead laminated, kind of like Gore materials are laminated. It's called HDry or HDry. I think it used to be called OutDry was the name of it. And this is basically, so Forma doesn't seem to have really changed a lot about their Adventure boot versus other models. We're going to do that right now. We're going to compare them right now to figure out what has changed. But if you look at this model versus the previous ones, the only selling point they're putting in their marketing materials is the use of the OutDry or HDry membrane that is, they call it welded or laminated to the inner layer to keep you waterproof. Now the waterproof boot doesn't go all the way up to here. It goes, well, I'll show you guys in a second where it goes to, but so you in the past, now this might be different, but in the past the waterproof layer is about to here, which is still pretty darn good, about 6 to 8 inches off the ground. But you need to know that limitation if you're going to be walking through the river with your friends. That's going to be a limitation for you. It's full grain leather. It's really nice. It actually starts to show age with time here. You can see we've already got some scuffs. I took this out for a ride already, and I always forget how stiff new boots are. So let's compare the Forma boot and how it's evolved over time, and then we're going to talk about this one. Now, if you're looking for a review, I can't review this because I haven't ridden in the rain yet, but it's my opinion that all the previous Forma boots that have what they called Drytex, and by the way, they still sell the Adventure with Drytex if you want to save some money. I think the price went from like $299 to maybe $329 for the new one. Maybe it's more, but it definitely would have been priced to get the better waterproofing. I've never had a Forma boot leak on me before, so in my opinion, I didn't really need this from a product standpoint. It wasn't missing on anything, but since they did do this, they did it for a reason, right? They had to make a decision, which is improve the waterproofing at a physical or a monetary cost to the end user, which is an increase in price from these 2 boots. And that increase in price must have been justified because they may have had complaints. I have no idea. I have heard of Adventure boots leaking in the past. So anyway, let's back up a little bit here, and I'm going to take you guys on a... All right, so what you're looking at here is the first pair of Adventure boots I ever bought, actually. The first boots I ever bought. When I first got into motorcycling, this is what I bought. Forma Adventure boots, I bought them because of price reasons. I thought they were really well priced compared to CD. They were waterproof, they were tall. and they were supposedly very comfortable on and off road. I put about 30,000 miles in these boots, and they were my only boots for a long time until my crash, actually. And if you look closely, you can see up here that these boots went through my low side in late 2018. So you can see here how they have these GH buckles, a little bit loose after time, but they still work. They're functional. You've got this scratching here. You've got this scratching here. See how it's worn down from the road rash there, and then you've got some broken pieces back here that come apart in the treads. These are the treads, by the way. We'll compare treads more in depth in a second. But these things lasted me 2.5 years of riding, lots of abuse, lots of off-roading, lots of crashes, and they've been fantastic. My only complaint about Formas, as you can see here, is the deformity of this here. They tend to sag over time. So this action here, they tend to sag down, and to me that makes them more comfortable, but it also it makes them less stable. Just from a daily safety perspective, but they're incredibly comfortable boots. That's kind of what you're getting your money's worth there. Here's the inner liner. This is your waterproof liner right here. This is the height of it, so you can see it stops right about there. Yeah, this closes up. And so let's go on to the next ones I bought, which these I bought in right after my crash, late 2018. And these have been ridden all of 2019 and then a part of 2020 so far. And you'll see the same things happening on these. They're getting that crumple zone effect where they bow out here where your ankle pad is, or your whatever your pad is here. The design is mostly the same. You got the same buckles. These got a little bit of road rash on them, nothing crazy. A little bit of road rash there, nothing crazy. And then you have the same kind of similar tread pattern. But on this case, I have none of my treads or my little footies are coming loose. And same thing applies on these. I'm going to grab this off to the side. You have the same exact waterproof liner, except now it's a slightly thicker, more comfortable material on here. And it's very breathable. You've got some bits here. I find that these are wearing or aging and are as the similar comfort levels as the original Formas, and these should be the exact same boot side by side. Let me do the ones that are laced up so you can see the comparison. 2016 and 2018 identical, both Drytex, and they're both aging at the same rate given their age. And honestly, these need to be retired. I've just been hanging on to them for a little bit too long. All right, so I'm going to take a break here and basically get into the Forma Adventure lows. These are Heather shoes, so they're a little smaller than mine, but same buckle. If you open them up, you've got the exact same liner, and it goes up to the second buckle right here. So if you compare the liners, you've got these side by side. She's got about an 1.5 to 2 inches lower waterproofing than I do on my tall boots. So if you were someone that wanted to get a low model, you may be surprised that you can get very similar waterproofing in a low as you would in the high. And the tread pattern's the same. Basically, they're the same thing. They're just cut off at the top without a third buckle. And so if you're like me and you're having the problems with the sagging and the overall kind of decrease in stability over time, maybe a low will work for you. I just like having the high coverage for my kind of riding. All right, and the last thing is in response to having the sagging problem, I actually ordered their Evo line. And their Evo line is meant for, again, adventure touring, but it's a much more stiff setup. The treads in the bottom are a lot stiffer, so if you stand a lot on pegs that are sharp, they actually don't recommend the Forma Adventure on their website for standing adventure riding with enduro style pegs. You'll supposedly eat through their treads, but in my experience, I don't really feel like that ever happened to me. I usually stand around right here. You've got a little bit of cutting right here and a cutting right here, but it wasn't, you know, if you look at these, which are 4 years old, and these, which are brand new, you can see a reduction in tread depth, but, you know, we're talking about 20 to 30,000 miles on this one and 0 on this one. It's not that terrible, to be honest, comparing the two. And if you compare brand new with only 1 year of riding, you know, even less pronounced, but they're still not a major departure. You just have a little bit of sharpness on the brand new treads versus the ones that are a couple years old. So anyway, the Terra Evo X's are supposed to be stiffer, but what Forma did, and I consider this to be their weakest link, because they tried to blend two different modes. They tried to blend MX with adventure riding. And I think where they failed is in the way they hardened this model. So you'll see that they actually cut away this this skid plate right here, and it actually is underneath the buckle. So this doesn't even do anything if you crash. Your buckle's getting the entire brunt, whereas on the Adventure, this comes out more pronounced. It does come out more pronounced if it was brand new, but it's kind of sagging, as you can tell. And then also in this model, you've got these pieces here on the sides with a much stiffer support that goes around the ankle and up here. But the problem with this, if you can see, this is peeling away. So let me show you on, this one's far worse. This is the one I shift with. But you can see here how this is basically coming off of its bit there. It's bending out. So all these Forma boots basically have the same problem where they sag. And you can see the sag on this is really pronounced on the inside of my foot here. So that was like that brand new. This is sagging. This is sagging. And then on the response to this, this is coming out. So the sag is real across all of these. And it could be an MX problem too. I have no idea. I've never owned MX boots, but I found that you know, if these were able to maintain their shape for a lot longer, somehow had some kind of a skeletal ridge that runs up the whole thing to keep them from sagging out. They tried to do it with this and it just didn't really work out. I would consider these to be much better boots, but they all seem to have that 2 to 3 year shelf life with me for that same problem. But with the Evo X, you've got this hard plate that basically comes all the way across over here, and you'll notice that this side isn't sagging thanks to that plate, but the inside is sagging. So the weight had to go somewhere, and it went here, for example. Same plates here. This is mounted in here and goes all the way up. You've got the plate here that connects to the shin guard. The shin guard on the Evo X is a lot thicker than the Adventure. And then finally, you've got these nice metal buckles that are super strong. And they're much stronger than the ones that are on the Adventure. But the good news is, one thing I noticed is that the Adventure now incorporates these same buckles, which is pretty awesome. And finally, down to the Drytex layer on the Evo X's. Open it up, you've got a very similar Drytex height and finish as you do on the Adventure. Very similar in feel, thickness, and location. It is sewn into the boot right here with this plastic pieces. The Evo X's I still use for dirt weekends. If we're going to be on dirt all weekend on our dirt bikes doing MX stuff, you see how dusty and dirty they are compared to my Adventures. These are the boots that I use. I've just found that they are losing the stability at the same rate as the Adventures were. So in my opinion, these are fantastic boots out of the gate, but I think that I need to finally bite the bullet and just buy motocross boots because these are clearly suffering from the same design flaws as the Adventure is. And that's just because they tried to make a comfortable off-road boot, and I'm not sure if they succeeded in it. But everything else is pretty nice about these. They are significantly stiffer than the Adventures, but not as stiff as motocross boots. All right, cool. So let's go to what's new about the Adventure. Like I pointed out here, we got the nice new buckles. We also have the HDry system. If you look at the interior is actually a really, really nice leather. It feels good. It's thicker than the other ones, so that because of the HDry membrane. The inside is much softer and less scratchy than the other models. And the height is still the same as far as your waterproof range. So your waterproof range isn't any higher on these. They didn't go all the way up the sole. So I believe that even though the membrane is laminated, once you close this up, you're still only allowed to go to about here when you're forging a river or something. The rest of these, in my opinion, are identical. I haven't seen any reason to believe, if you look at the tread pattern of the regular Adventure versus the new Adventure. Put them side by side here so you can see the differences. It looks pretty much the same. There may be subtle differences, but I don't see a lot of this difference there. You've got some cutting there from my pegs, but it's just going to happen. Now these all look the same as each other, as the old versus the new. I guess this feels a little harder than the new one. This feels harder than the new material. Maybe it's just an aging thing. On the back, looks the same, and everything looks the same. Honestly, these are narrower, and every time I need a new pair of Forma boots, I think, wow, these are much more narrow. They did a great job of making these smaller. No, they all start this small. And over time, they do this, and they get super wide and kind of like this. Could just be my fat legs talking. I don't know. So I don't know if this was helpful enough to you guys. Let me go wide here. Now you got my knee in view. I don't know if this was helpful to you guys. I bought the new Adventures because I'm not going to start wearing them immediately. Actually, I'm going to keep wearing my black ones for now. But if we are going a weekend of water crossing, I will wear them in hopes that they're better in waterproofness. But honestly, I haven't needed better waterproofness. The core Drytex design has been completely flawless from the beginning. So these are going to stay on standby until I end up going off-road again. Or the black ones that I have now get towards age of retirement, which are probably going to be started next year. And the original Forma boots need to be donated to someone, a new rider in need of size 13. I'll probably give these away at a rally or something and just say, hey, if you know someone that needs boots and they're a size 13, here you go. Heather is just getting hers broken in. You see the sag is already starting over here. This sag is already kind of starting to develop where that weight goes. It's just anemic to these boots designed. And then the Evo X's, they're still in good enough shape that I'm going to keep using them, but they're definitely showing signs of wear, and I'm going to send this video to the guys at Forma Boots USA and ask them if they have any advice. I paid for all these. It's not a review, it's not a demo, it's not a freebie. Eventually I'll probably try some CDs and see how they do compared to these, but really no desire to switch. If you guys are getting longer than 3 years out of a pair of boots and you ride 12 to 15,000 miles a year on and off road, let me know. But if you're not, then I think Forma's for me then, because 3 years is the usable life. I'm happy with them. It's a shitload of boots. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm really looking forward to giving these a go. I think they are a nice evolution to a design, and the price represents the manufacturing requirements of having to build in the membrane, laminated membrane. That's all I got for now. Just went on a test ride. They feel great. Shout out to Forma Boots USA for all of your support and pre-sales and post-sales questions. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. Thanks for watching.